We are live. It is Thursday, January 24th, 2019. And tonight, we are going to get back into our book club reading of Self-Care for the Self-Aware, a guide for highly sensitive people, empaths, intuitives, and healers by Dave Markowitz. We will be reading chapter 5, and hopefully we'll have enough time to get into chapter 6 as well. Okay. So let's just go ahead and begin. I don't think there's any announcements that I have for you all. But if I come up with something, then I'll just save it for the end. Okay. So again, we are reading Self-Care for the Self-Aware, a guide for highly sensitive people, empaths, intuitives, and healers by Dave Markowitz. And we'll be reading chapter 5 and hopefully being able to get through chapter 6 as well. All right. So thank you to everyone who's joining me right now. It is 7:01. I say we go ahead and get started, okay? So chapter 5, the keyhole. Thank you for today. I started using the process and have had good results already. I did step 2, the keyhole, as it was coming at me. Let it pass through, felt a twinge of pain, and it was gone. I'm going to keep practicing this and will cut myself some slack in moments that I stumble. This was a statement from Barb T., mother, student of Portland, Oregon. So it goes on to say that chapter 4 in this stage described an awareness that must be integrated to release our exaggerated sense of responsibility for others. Chapter 5 is more active, employing a consciously applied method to end our taking on and keeping others fear, anger, or grief. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. My apologies if there's a glare from the light, but I feel like me being able to see and read this would be a lot healthier for my eyes. Okay. This is required because essentially we empaths are emotional sponges who intuitively absorb everything around us, and we need to find a safe way to deal with this. Using this tool is a way to let others' energy flow through us and out so that we don't take it on as ours. The concept. We're on page 42 right now. We are nurturers, givers, and helpers. It's in our nature. It's far more satisfying, effective, and healthy to work with this divine nature than against it. Going with the flow is more empowering than going against it. Telling you to put up walls to protect yourselves, blocking the flow as is often recommended, also minimizes other more positive people and circumstances intended for you. Because we can't selectively invite or block specific frequencies, it's best to open to all the universe offers us, keeping what we like and discharge what is not meant for us. Many of us have learned to block incoming unwanted energy by putting up a wall. As with many healing modalities and general ways of being, this seems to be effective, so we don't question it. But it only works in the short term. This wall is the energetic equivalent of holding out our hands and arms to keep negative forces at bay. On a physical level, how long can we hold our arms up and outward in an attempt to block or push away a person? Not very long before exhaustion sets in, right? Metaphorically, this energetic pushing away tires us as well and blocks the good gifts of Source from reaching us. So basically what he's saying is that, if you block all the energy, you'll basically miss out on your blessing. So it's important to learn how to release the energy that you don't want. That's basically what he's saying. So the action step, the keyhole. Before entering a room or situation where we're likely to be drained, feel, visualize, or imagine your heart chakra opening. Then, like a keyhole in a door that lets a person see through and to the other side, feel, visualize, or imagine the front and back of your heart chakra open enough that if someone were looking at you from the front, they could see what's behind you through this opening. It can be open to the width of a grapefruit or more potentially difficult situations or people. It can be smaller too, but make it the size of a raisin for what you may perceive as less emotionally painful situations. Then invite whatever negativity is coming towards you to go right through you and out the back. So I would want to imagine like I have one of those shotgun houses, where when you're at the front door you can see all the way through the house all the way to the back. I think that might work a little bit better for me than just like a keyhole. So anyways, moving forward, do not let it hit the sides of the tunnel. Rather, sense it entering the center space and following on through. You might feel the flow of energy as wind, or you can imagine light, color, sound, or whatever works best for you to allow unwanted energy to travel in and out into the same millisecond. I use a mantra. I'm me and you're you. Whatever you send, I let go through. Feel free to use that one. Royalty checks made out to my name, please. That's cute. Or make up your own. It is really that simple, yet remarkably effective. The heart chakra is already an active spiral, so envision a tornado on its side, pulling negative energy in and right out the back. We're not changing your divine blueprint of being an empath, just finding ways to use it so that you can no longer burden with its potential ill effects. I recommend the heart chakra because that is the seat of compassion for most. If your intuition tells you to use another chakra, feel free to use that instead. The keyhole is just one tool of many, but my clients and I have found to be remarkably effective because you are working with the flow of energy as opposed to trying to block it. That's kind of like is it Tai Chi, or there's some type of martial arts where you use the energy of the person who's trying to attack you to defend yourself, and basically you can use their energy to like flip them over your body, or when they try to hit you, you take that energy that they're using from their punch and giving it back to them. I can't think of what that's called, but that's what this sounds like. However, I do recall one instance where this was not effective. I was in a very small room with about 30 people. For those joining us now, we're on page 44. Thank you and welcome. However, I do recall one instance where this was not effective. I was in a very small room with about 30 people, and I had tried allowing whatever negative energy was coming my way to go through. But I still felt weakened. In that case, in my mind's eye, I put up a wall and felt better pretty quickly, but I also remembered to take it down as I exited the building. So use your judgment. There is no one-size-fits-all in anything. The blessings of being empathic. Many of us have not known these steps. Many of us who have not known these steps may have found our empathetic abilities a burden. And many of my clients, burdened, drained, and ill, have asked me what the main advantage to being empathic is. My response is that with the ability to feel the emotions of others when used correctly, empathy can increase your level of compassion towards others. Compassion is one of the primary precursors of enjoying an open heart and establishing truer connections with others. Compassion is a requirement for heart-centered relationships, authentic communication, and full emotional expression. Picture a world where everyone was more compassionate. Might there be less hunger, poverty, or war? You could be the forerunner of this vision, and empathy is your broomstick or magic wand. The choice is yours. Discernment. It can be difficult to know what's yours and what is another's. This, like many other action steps of growth, requires practice and patience. When present, discernment is much easier. Try to bring yourself fully into the moment, sometimes doing something physical like rubbing your hands together. This will increase the amount of sensations in this now and can bring you into the moment. Then try to feel what's going on within you. With presence, you can actually ask it. Are you mine or another's? With practice, the answer becomes easier to see, feel, and hear. It's okay to feel momentarily the pain of another. This helps you walk in another's shoes, even if for uh, even if for a few seconds. It increases the connection between you and the other, increasing compassion through shared experience or sensations. Excuse me. Then let it go. Remember, it's not your job to be a sponge any longer. Practice and patience. Of course, maximizing your efficiency with the concepts in chapters 4 and 5 takes practice and patience. But start a little bit each day and celebrate your success. Some people get this in the moment. Others may take years. While we of course want results quicker than slower, we can't rush change. To do so often creates more resistance. Work at this in your own perfect, divine, inspiring time frame. Okay. Releasing responsibility. Wait a minute. Okay. Apologies, you all. Releasing responsibility and using the keyhole can change your pattern of taking on and embodying the fear, anger, and grief of others. Fear, anger, and grief of others. It is, in my humble opinion, the most effective method of dealing with your own empathic abilities, so that they are a blessing and not a curse. These two steps are the keys to preventing taking on empathic pain, and can and should be done by each of us before engaging with others. If your sense of responsibility includes wanting to heal the world, I suggest working with these steps at least once a day, hourly if needed. The mind will want to know how often and for how long. Give it a hug and invite patience instead. Just begin and let guidance take over. The deeper degree that you achieve this knowing, the easier it will be to heal what ails you and prevents reoccurrence. Your success with the concepts and tools in the rest of this book will depend on your ability to know and integrate these steps. Number 1, metaphysically speaking, your primary responsibility is to yourself. And 2, when engaging others, utilize the keyhole. The deeper degree that these steps are in place, the better there was the possibility that you can finally heal empathic pain and illness using the concepts in stage 3. So before we begin stage 3, which is on page 47, let me just go back and kind of review what he was saying about the keyhole for those of you who may not have joined us at the very beginning. So what he is saying is that you're using the keyhole. What you're going to do is visualize a keyhole where you're putting in the key and you're unlocking your heart. So what you're going to do is make like it's up to you what size the keyhole actually is. But the purpose of the keyhole is so that when there is energy coming towards you that you don't want, you're basically just visualizing it going straight through you through the keyhole. So depending on the size that you want the hole to be is up to you. He said the size of a pin or the size of a grapefruit. It really doesn't matter. But basically you're just opening up a space as if just a giant hole where if someone's were to stand in front of you, they could literally just look right through you and see to the other side. Okay, I gave the example of the shotgun houses that are found like down south or in Louisiana more specifically, where when you're at the front door, you literally can look through the entire house and see out the back door if both doors are open. Okay, so let's move on. Stage 3, healing empathic pain and illness. This is on page 47. All right, chapter 6, the body scan. The concept. Now that we know we're not responsible for others and we know how to stop taking on and keeping the fear, anger, and grief of others, it's time to release the months or decades of accumulated negative, stagnant energy that is very likely the underlying cause of our pain and illness. The stuff where we've tried in so many ways to clear, but with only temporary success. We have to give back what's not ours. As emotional sponges, many of us have made it an unconscious habit to take on the energy of other people. Clearly, this affects us in negative ways. It drains us, manifests in pain and illness and weakness, weakens our immune system to the point where we can barely fight off even a minor problem. One of the most interesting things, my personal aha moment in all of this, is that while we may enjoy to some degree or even get commended or paid for being an empath, it's actually the last thing another person's soul wishes to happen. Well, that's true. Each soul has a mission, and by us taking on the energy of another person, that soul no longer has what it needs. It's actually incomplete. For example, if you carry your mother's sadness or any physical result that may arise from repressing the sadness, examples may include digestive disorders, skin problems, lung issues, what's called depression, fatigue, etc. She no longer has the impetus to go within and see what it's about. Her grief is a message, a challenge, and an opportunity for her to look at an aspect of her life that has not yet been examined. By you taking on that from her, she will likely feel fine and may continue her unhealthy behavior. To use a motor vehicle analogy, she will no longer has the dashboard warning light to tell her that something is in need of attention. She will likely feel better in your presence, but you will likely feel worse. Even if you decide to consciously be a sponge, the end results are the same. You feel burdened and she's still incomplete. So this kind of go back to even what we read about in chapter 1 and 2, where they're talking about how it's not beneficial. And even in chapter 4, it's not beneficial to hold on to people's energy, because it's like he's just said, it makes you sick and it makes them not be able to be accountable and do the work that they need to do to heal, in order to allow that energy that's coming from within themselves to be released. Okay. Resistance. When doing this process, you may become aware of your own lack of desire to return the energy. Why? Because it's been a part of you for a very long time, and you may not know what's on the other side of the return. As illogical as that sounds, many would rather be comfortable in their discomfort than take a chance on something new. That's very true, because of the fear of it, the fear of the unknown. It is said that the slaves that Moses freed asked to be returned to Egypt and lived as slaves again rather than to live in their new freedom, because that included facing the unknowns of the desert. At least they'd known they'd regularly get a bite to eat as a slave, even if it was just a morsel. Sometimes you just have to take the leap and deal with the ramifications later. Why else? Because we fear that if we give back the baggage, then the other person will crash. Who cares? Like, it's theirs, right? Logically, but unlikely. What's a huge burden for you is typically a mere drop in the proverbial ocean for them, because it's a return to the natural order of things. I've never had any client report that the person to whom they have returned their fear, anger, or grief has had dramatic worsening of symptoms after the return to sender process you're about to begin. Time is on your side. Another very important thing to remember is that each person's process will be different. You may master this in a few minutes, or it may take a few years. Let it be like yoga, ideally, where you accept wherever you are. By accepting where you are, you create room for growth and integration. By creating and then fighting the resistance, you give it more energy and what you focus on expands, making this entire process much more difficult than it needs to be. I've had some people get this and have dramatic results. Excuse me. Have dramatic results in one session. Others need a few months, and it's all fine. You can't rush this, just like you can't rush the fermentation time for your kombucha. Time really is on your side. That stuff is nasty. I don't care what anybody says. Like, yes, it's good for you, but it's nasty. I don't care what you guys think. Think about me and my and my taste buds. Anyway, sorry, squirrel. While some will do this as described below and have great results, others may need a more flexible and supportive guide to lead them through what could be a very challenging exercise. The template below will work well for most, but others may need a much more individualized approach. If the latter is the case, please contact me to set up an appointment. Like working with a personal trainer, a life coach, I can help you work through the resistance and get better results faster than working on your own. Oh, my camera's moved. On the other side of these steps is a new level of freedom for you. And isn't that what we all want? Beyond the mind's ideas of what to own, what to look like, how to live, how to love, and how to do and be, what we really seek at the deepest level is libertarian. Miss Davis says, never had kombucha before. You're not missing anything. Absolutely not. You're not missing anything. But don't listen to me. Try it and then make up your own mind in regards to the kombucha. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. Okay. Let me just start over. On the other side of these steps is a new level of freedom for you. And isn't that what we all want? Beyond the mind's ideas of what to own, what to look like, how to live, how to love, and how to do and be, what we really seek at the deepest level is liberation and freedom from the perceived constraints. We do this via a reconnection to our source and by returning to the sender what's theirs and not yours. A new way of being will make itself known that is closer to the liberation. It may be uncomfortable at first, but true growth usually is. If you've been in this far, if you've made it this far, odds are pretty high that you're carrying the negative energy of others. By doing the first step in the return process called the body scan, you can ascertain if what you're dealing with is yours or that of another or a combination thereof, and the results of what inquiry will lead you to exactly the right thing to do. It's tongue-tied. Good and great. So do we remember what the body scan was? So the body scan is basically you're just scanning your body. You're seeing if that emotion that you're feeling is yours or not by determining what's going on in the situation, if you even would logically be reacting the way you would to whatever is going on within your area. Okay, so if if all of a sudden you start feeling angry and you're not doing anything but sitting there and scanning for feelings, and you know that you're not doing anything to where you would be angry, you're not thinking about anything, you're not reading anything, like you're just sitting there chilling, like eating your snacks, whatever they may be, but you also are sitting next to somebody and you feel that energy of them just fuming about something, then you know that it's not yours and it belongs to them. So with that, then we can use the keyhole process where we open up the keyhole, whatever size we want it to be, and we let that energy flow through us, and then we can close it back up or leave it open, whatever the case may be. All right. Does that make sense? I know sometimes I talk very fast, but it's because my mind is like, there's so much stuff that I need to get out. So I have to speak quickly so that it all gets out and I don't forget what I was trying to say. All right, so good or great. The end results of the body scan and return to sender can be good or great. Good would be to have total clarity. Hey Jacob, good to see you. Or glad that you're here. Let me see. Good would be to have total clarity on exactly what has been ailing you and why you've not been able to heal. Great would be a reversal of the energy to its original source, leading to a reduction or elimination of the symptoms of empathic pain or illness at the causal root. All the steps in this book will happen when you are ready to allow them to. They cannot be forced. Each step herein can take seconds or several minutes. It is helpful to remember your body is always trying to heal itself, and Source is always trying to give you exactly what is needed for that to happen. All possibilities are always available in each moment. All you have to do is open up to them and allow their manifestation. Okay. So once we start with this process, we have to remember to be open to the process. Action steps. Sorry, I was looking at there was a notification about this video on my screen, so I got distracted. Have a pen and a paper ready. Okay. So from a quiet, centered place, focus your attention inward. Start at the head and slowly move downward to the feet. Allowing that journey, typically one area will stand out above all the others. It may or may not even be where you expect it to be. Just go with what shows up. If two or more areas make themselves known, try to ascertain which is talking the loudest. Even if you guess incorrectly, good things can still come. Remember that you can't actually cause anything to hurt by doing so. By doing this, you can and are raising awareness of what's already happening within you. Once you are in tune with what's in need of attention in this moment, stay focused on this area. Okay. So, should we close our eyes to do this? Okay. So I guess you would just need to begin by sitting in a comfortable position and just kind of do a body scan like we talked about earlier. We're starting from our head, going down to our toes, and we're going to see if anything stands out in regards to our pain. Any pain that we may feel in our body. And I can tell you right now, I don't even have to sit with my eyes closed to tell you that my shoulders always are in pain, and I know that it's stress, and I know that it's not mine, and I just don't know how to get rid of it. So but we're gonna do it now, right? We're gonna learn how to do this together. Okay, whose grief is it anyway? Let us use an example of becoming aware of discomfort in the heart chakra. Stay with it and try to go one step deeper. Remember that all pain and illness is multi-layered, so you're just allowing a deeper awareness to be awoken. Let me pause right there and kind of clarify. It's the energy that I feel in my shoulders, it's mine and somebody else's, or an accumulation of a lot of different people, and it just kind of all like comes together, and it's just like in knots, like right here on both sides, and it's just there, and I've had it there for a very, very long time. Okay. Remember that all pain and illness is multi-layered, so you're just allowing a deeper awareness to be awoken. Under that discomfort will be an emotion. Allow that to come to you. Stay with that emotion. Do you have rocks? Like, what kind of rocks? Like, actual rocks from outside? I'm sorry, you guys. Someone's asking, my friend Jacob, he's asking do I have rocks? So I'm not sure what you mean by rocks. So is it like real rocks or like salt rocks or massaging type rocks? Let me know. On your shoulders, does it feel like rocks? Okay. No, it doesn't feel like rocks. It just feels like a knot. It's okay. On your shoulders, do you have rocks? It doesn't feel like rocks. It just feels like a tightness. Like a visualization would be like when you're really, really scared and you're like a child and a child's really scared and they're curled up in a ball like in the corner and they're tense and they're tight and they are afraid to look. They're afraid to look up. So everything is just like condensed in a ball like this. That's what it feels like here. Sometimes it's not as bad as the day before. But I notice that when I get really, really stressed out or when I'm around someone who is a trigger for me, an emotional trigger, then it will get worse. Okay. Remember that all pain and illness is multi-layered, so you're just allowing a deeper awareness to be awoken. Under that discomfort will be an emotion. Allow that to come to you. Stay with that emotion and try to embrace it. It is not your enemy. It is a wound in need of healing. Once that is identified, write it down. Example would be, under the discomfort of my heart chakra, I feel a sense of sadness. Okay, so let's do that. Let me see. In my heart chakra, I feel a sense of I don't feel sadness. I want to say I feel like, and it's not defeat. I don't feel defeated. I feel like caged. That's what I feel. So that could be sadness, but caged, I would say that would be the word. Stay with the feeling, and when you're ready, try to feel even deeper into it. This may bring some discomfort, but it is often necessary and always temporary. Once you are connecting with it on a deeper level, try to let an awareness of who it belongs to arise in your consciousness. You can ask it directly. Are you mine, or what, or that of someone else, or a combination? Give it the time and space to answer as needed. I have an idea that it might be a combination. So does anyone here have any, I don't know if you guys are participating as we're reading along, but I thought it would be helpful for me to do that. So, but if you are, and if you feel open to it, you can share with what you're feeling within your heart chakra. But you don't have to. It's not mandatory. I'm just doing it because I feel comfortable with sharing that. Okay. When you have that answer, write that down. Example, some of this grief is mine, but most of it is someone else's. Okay, this is good. We now have awareness where before we had blanks. The next step is to determine whose energy you are carrying. Ask it for its original source. You may hear or feel or intuitively know the answer. Write that down. Most of this grief belongs to my mother. That's the example that's given. So for me, as soon as I said the word cage, the person who I'm sharing this with automatically popped into my head. Like, I know who it is. I know why they feel caged. I know why I feel caged. So, and I don't want to share who that person is just to protect them. But I know why I feel caged. And it's very interesting that saying that within the past few weeks, a lot of different things have come about in my life where I've had to make decisions about some things in regards to what I want to do, and so that I can move forward within my own life. And so this is very interesting that this chapter is bringing that up for me again. So just kind of bear with me. Again, like I told you guys when we first started this group, that my hopes were really to be transparent with you all, because I believe that I would say or do something that could help someone else. All right. So that's why I'm sharing this with you now. Let's move forward. So if you get emotional, that's a good thing. Just roll with it. Once you have this vision or feeling, sink deeper into that. Know that the reason that you've been unable to heal is because you were looking for health in all the wrong places, and it's okay. You were never taught to look within. It's typical and not something to be ashamed of. At least now, courtesy of the body scan, you now have a new bevy of information and awareness to work with. It's time for the next step. Okay. And that next step is chapter 7. How many more chapters do we have left? I feel like we should keep going. So let's see. Do you guys want to keep going and do chapter 7, which is called Return to Sender? Well, I do. So y'all can hang with me if you want to. So let's move forward. Chapter 7, Return to Sender. Your return to sender exercise created a healthy closeness instead of a healthy distance. I was able to look in my mom's eyes and be more present with her in a way that she recognized and reciprocated. So I became more intimate with my mom and yet felt simultaneously less responsible. Can we say miracle? Let's say miracle. And that was by Laurel Eden, who is a spiritual songwriter and teacher in New York. Okay, great, Miss Davis. I'm glad you're here with me. I appreciate the support, girl. All right. We are now conscious of the fact that many of us have been carrying others' emotional junk. So logically, we have to return it to its original state, and I don't mean New Jersey. And in the above example of carrying your mother's grief and or the physical manifestations of such, her emotional baggage is hers, and at the highest level, she wants it back. Really. Wait. You may not know right away who or what to work with, and that also is okay. Let me get my bearings back together, y'all. Okay. So, sometimes just by beginning the exercise, things become clearer. Whether it's the energy or your boyfriend, mother, father, sibling, cousin, friend, ex-partner, or small group, or even a huge collective of people, know on a very deep level that what's theirs is theirs, and it's theirs for a reason. They need it. Whether the baggage is that of a person who is still alive or of someone who is out of their corporal form, it's still theirs to deal with, not yours. The deeper degree that you achieve this knowing, the easier it will be to heal empathic pains, illness, and prevent reoccurrence. And I believe this goes back to when he was saying that, you know, it's not our responsibility. We cannot be responsible for other people's healing. Okay? We have to give them back what is rightfully theirs. It's kind of like, you know, if you find $100 and someone reports they lost $100, the right thing to do is to give them back the money. Okay? Now, if you really give them back the $100, that's your business, but I'm trying to give you, you know, an example that would make sense. Okay, while the return to sender ultimately can and should be done for everyone you feel, you may be carrying a piece of, don't roll your eyes at me, I never promised this was going to be easy. Carrying a piece of fill in the blanks with whoever comes up for you during the steps below. Okay? So trust the process. Call upon whatever higher power you believe in to assist you. While I can assume that most of you believe in a higher power, there may be a few who do not, and that too is fine. I won't smack you over the head with my first book, or worse, a Bible. It's much heavier, until you believe in a higher power. It's just helpful to know you are not alone and are being supported in your process. Source has no boundaries. When asked, it will help you in a way that resonates best for you. Feel that support that is always there, but is often buried beneath the conscious mind, thoughts, and fears. Action steps. All right, so now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. The action steps of returning unwanted energy to the original source is somewhat similar to an episode of Star Trek where the crew travels back in time to return the flow of events into the natural timeline. But you don't have to compute like a Vulcan to know what to do. All you have to do is to follow this template. Once you return to sender that which is not yours, a whole new sense of freedom and health will arrive. Are you ready? In your mind's eye, call upon the highest self of whoever showed up during the body scan. Okay. So whoever that was for you, in your mind's eye, call upon that person's highest self. Okay. Allow their highest self's essence to come to you. Do not force it. Open your heart and connect with that vision, feeling, or impression non-verbally. Especially if this is someone you haven't seen in a while, take the time to take in his or her energy. Bathe in it, dance with it, and let it affect you emotionally. Be okay with whatever emotion arises, be it fear, anger, or grief, and embrace those too. Write the below to this person and feel free to make it your own by using words and phrases that are more in line with you, that person, or your relationship with them. Anything to the following effect will work. And it says, Dear blank, thank you for coming to me in this way at this time. I am now fully aware that I have been carrying your blank. And they give the options of pain, illness, fear, anger, grief, stress, etc. In my blank. So that would be back, shoulders, lungs, life, etc. Okay. And it goes on to say, I am now aware that I am unconsciously taking this on in an attempt to heal, support, or connect with you, or to get love from you. This was something I decided when I was younger that worked to some degree, but now no longer does. In fact, it has become an insoluble challenge. That's cool. I like those words. I like those words a lot. Mark goes on to say, stay connected in the vision and watch for reactions. They may have something to say in response. Let them have their way, just like you wish they have given you the chance to speak in the past. Once the connection has been made in this way, typically they will appear softer and more open to you. Now you must begin the deeper work and ask them for permission to return to them what is theirs. Write the following and again feel free to make it your own. I have taken this issue on unconsciously. Okay, I'm sorry. Mark is going on to say what you need to write down. I have taken this issue on unconsciously and no longer need to. I am fully aware that this is yours to bear, not mine. In fact, I am aware that you are incomplete without it. My returning this to you, no matter how much that scares or excites either or both of us, must be done. Do I have your permission to return this to you at this time? And if yes, how may I return? He, she, or it will likely acknowledge what you are saying and grant you permission to return to sender that which is theirs. If you do not receive permission right away, remind them and you that if this unnecessarily burdens you and you wish to return to them what is theirs. Ask if you can return a smaller percentage if necessary, and be okay with any answer, even if it's 50% or 2%. So I wonder why we just can't give it back. Like, here, take this. Have a good day. Appreciate you. But let's keep reading and see if he lets us know why. Okay? If you get a percentage, that only means you have to repeat the return to sender the next day. Do this until you are really done, not when the mind says you are done. You will know when you have done. You will know when you are done when you feel it in your body. This can happen immediately or not. Be patient. Remember, time is on your side. Right. So it says that you can't just give it to him. But now he's saying to us, right, that this is a process that has to be done or can be done or may take at least days. It's going to take time. I wonder if it's because, energy never stops moving. So if you release the energy, because it's moving through you, right? It's just there. But it's stagnant, but it's still moving through you. And you release it and you give it back to this other person, but they don't want it. And they're saying, no, I don't want it. I'm not ready for it yet. Then would that energy then go to the next person, or would it come back? Like, how would that work? Okay, let's read forward. Let's move on and see what he says. If you do not get permission to return to sender, it is likely something on your end that is blocking the return, not theirs. Remember, you are talking with another person's higher self, not their personality, ego, or their pain body, but the part of them that can love beyond the fears. It is not atypical to have resistance. Remember, some of you have been carrying other people's energies for decades, and it's oddly comforting to do so. But now is the time to stop the pattern. If not now, when? Reiterate to yourself that this is theirs, not yours, and that you are burdened by it and they are incomplete without it. Trust the process as best as you can and try again. So I take that as him saying that if they don't accept it, then it's our fault. There's something going on with us where we're not fully allowing that energy to be removed from our body and given back. Because they would be in their higher self. So they would be possibly like in their, what do you want to call it? Like their God mind or their Christ mind. Whoever their higher power is, and their highest self would be on like that same plane as their higher force or creator. Okay. My head hurts thinking about that. I'm a little bit confused, but we're going to press through and see what he says. Once you get permission, begin the return. This may look like a gift basket full of fears or a warm open hug. I like to picture a file transfer similar to that which you'd see on a computer screen or a tube of light. Both can go on longer than a gift transfer until finished, but there is no right or wrong. As you do this, stay aware of their response and yours as well. Often you will feel lighter right away. It can't even be an uncomfortable sense of lightness, as the vibration could be something you have little to no recollection of being. Yet it may feel oddly familiar, closer to your original blueprint of divine perfection, freedom, and love. If you did not receive permission, it is your issue, not theirs. No one's higher self would say no. You're more likely tuning into the personality or how you remember them. Try to go deeper past the personality and reach their higher self. Okay. So Miss Davis, you're saying, I think maybe it has to do with the karmic agreements. Like there must be some part of you need to do to let go. Although I don't know about getting permission to give it to them. Okay. I can dig it. I see what you're saying. And I agree with you. So, what he just said, and I'm sure you were typing this as I was reading this, but again, there's a delay. So you're probably hearing what I'm about to say now as I'm reading it. So anywho, let me move on. What he's just saying is that if we are actually talking to someone's higher self, then they would agree to it automatically, like off the rip. They're just like, yeah, sure, give it back to me. I need that. I was looking for it. Why do you have it? That's mine. Okay. So what he's saying is that if we request if we request permission to give it back, slow typer. It's okay. I'm a slow typer too, but I talk fast, so you can imagine. So if we ask for permission and we're supposed to be speaking to the person's higher self, the higher self will automatically take it. However, if they don't automatically take it, then that means that we have not truly connected with their higher self. And we've only connected with either like their personality or their actual being. We're not talking to their higher self, their Christ self, their God self. Okay, so we have to dig deeper to reach that. Okay, so the last sentence was try to go deeper past the personality and reach their higher self. If this is ineffective, one possibility is that you have fears of the return to sender hurting them. Reread the above text daily if need be and really sit with that fear. The other possibility is that you've been identified with this pain for so long that you've worn your spiritual superhero cape for as long as you can remember. You're likely lost in it. Who will I be without this? Even if it's unconscious. Well, remember, that's anything left in the dark cannot be healed. What's unconscious has to be made conscious to move forward. In this case, write that question down. The question is, who will I be without this? Sit with the question and let an answer come to you. If you're viscerally oriented, you'll likely feel it in your body. If you're visual, you may see a vision. If you're emotionally open, you'll feel the answer. Write the answer below. And the example that he gives is, I will better know who I truly am. I will feel free, happy, and whole. Okay, so with mine, I was saying that I feel caged. Who will I be without this? I feel like Mark wrote this book like for me, okay? Because if I was no longer caged, if I no longer had that energy, I would be free. I would feel safer to move about the cabin, as it were, okay? So I don't know. What would you guys what would your answer be to who will I be without this? Okay, just put it in the comments. I'm going to move forward and then I'll come back, and if you've typed anything, then I'll go ahead and talk to you about it. All right, sink into the emotion of what you've written. While words can and do manifest a reality, feelings can do so quicker and on deeper levels. Now go back and do the return to sender exercise again. So again, we're going to ask for permission for the person's higher self to take back the emotion. Okay? It is highly likely that you'll have a dramatically more effective experience. You will most likely feel a tremendous shift. Even if it's minor, congratulate yourself. You now know you're onto something huge, and with repetition can create even deeper transformations daily. Okay, so Jacob, you said, I have a question. Does he indicate why we have to ask for permission to give energy back versus severing energetic ties and cords? All right, so let's go back to return to sender. And let's see if I can find that answer for you. Okay, whether the energy... Excuse me. While I can assume that there may be few, but who don't know, that is fine. I won't smack you over the head. Okay. While the return to sender ultimately can and should be done for everyone you may be carrying a piece of, fill in the blanks with whoever comes up for you during the steps below. Okay, so he doesn't indicate why. I believe that. Now, let me know if you think I'm misspeaking on this, okay? So I believe that what he is saying is when you've been carrying someone's energy for a long time. He works specifically with other healers who do Reiki and things like the energy clearing. So he's speaking to them. In my opinion, that's who he's speaking to. People who are doing energy clearing and who have taken the negative things from someone else, but then they weren't able to let it go, and so that caused them to have sickness. Okay. So he's telling them that in order to get rid of the energy that they've had for so long, that doing the return to sender would work better because they've been holding it for such a long time and they haven't already, like you said, severed the energetic ties or cords. Okay. So essentially that energy has now become a part of them. And so they have to return it. I think this is more symbolic than it is just cut and dry. This is what you do. Let it go. It's more or less where he's saying there's steps where you need to allow yourself to give this stuff back. And these are the steps. And Miss Davis, you asked the question, who will I be without? Okay, please repeat. Okay, my apologies. So the question is just in regards to the emotion or the feeling and why you're not able to return to the sender. The question is, who will I be without this? So without this whatever, who will I be without this sadness? Who will I be without this, whatever the whatever the blockage may be. Who will I be without? Okay. I'm trying to find my spot. All right, so we're on page 63. I'm going to start back. I'm just going to reread the second paragraph again. All right, so if nothing has shifted, it only means you've yet to let go of the identification of yourself as an emotional sponge and or release responsibility for others' burdens. In the good or great paradigm, this to me is still good. In time when working with the causative energies, something has to give. It's really hard for some people to do this on his or her own. I even need someone co-creating safe space with me, and I've been teaching this for years. I know you want results, and you want them sooner rather than later, but some things can't be rushed. So be okay with your process, and remember that it truly is a process, not an event. Okay. Okay. Miss Davis, so you said you've been a little afraid of that. So why are you afraid to be without whatever the emotion is that you're talking about? While you type, I'm gonna keep reading and I'll come back. Another possibility is that there is the equivalent of detoxification, in that some symptoms may worsen. This is usually short-lived and an invitation to relax and let your body catch up to the work. If it's exponentially worse, know that this process typically cannot cause illness, but can raise awareness of what's already there. Good judgment is needed, and good judgment is needed here, and if you are still unsure, perhaps a visit to a medical doctor is in order. Use whatever modalities are available. There is no harm in going to a qualified practitioner, except perhaps to our egos that may be determined and attached to doing things its preferred way. All things, people, and events have a purpose where there's no mistakes. Use what feels right to use, while knowing both the potential advantages as well as the potential limitations of each. Either way, congratulations, well done. Typically, you've just returned what does not belong to you to its original owner, or you've identified why you were unable to continue the process at this time. Both options are better than where you were before reading this book. This work isn't for the timid. Give yourself a pat on the back, irrelevant to your expectation of success. Stop reading and do as you're instructed. Really, give yourself a pat on the back. It'll feel good, and don't get cocky. There's more to do. There's always more to do. Fantastic. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back because I was really, really quite moved by this. Let me see what is being said. So Miss Davis, you said, I think that I realize how powerful I am, all the gifts that I have, and it's a little scary. It makes me feel like my purpose is bigger than what I'm ready for. Ooh. Been pushing past that fear because the sadness, old ways of being, etc. are just too burdensome. I can dig it. So you're in the process of releasing the old and embracing the new. And although it can be scary because of the unknown, you know, we all sometimes have that fear of the unknown. But I mean, just what do I want to say? The unknown is scary, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be worse than the present. Okay, so you at this moment are taking the steps to get to where you want to be. You're taking the steps that are necessary for your healing so that you can be open to the positive things that are coming into your life. So you need to be available, right? Sorry, I just got like ringing in my ears. And whenever I get ringing in my ears, I have to be quiet to listen so that I can give the right words. So at this moment, you are taking the necessary steps to prepare yourself for the great things that are going to be coming into your life. And although you've been hurt in the past, you can't hold on to that hurt and pain, because it's going to block you from receiving the blessing that's going to come to you. And it's not to take away your experience, and it's not to, and you're not, what am I saying? Your feeling is not unvalid. It's valid. Your feeling is valid. The feelings of the experience is valid. But the experience you can no longer use, you can no longer hold on to, because it's going to keep you stuck. You're going to remain stuck in a place where you're not happy, where you're not growing, where you're not feeling fulfilled, where you are maybe feeling unbalanced, where you're feeling like you can't get your footing. You feel like you're not able to take the next step forward because you're holding on to what happened in your past. Does that make sense? So if there's no what might help is that if you if you work on getting rid of the fear that's in your mind. Because if there's no fear in your mind, then there's no fear in your outside world that can harm you. Okay? Let me rephrase that. If you get rid of the enemy in your head, so your enemy is like your ego, the person that's telling you you can't do this, or the person, the voice, you can't do this. That's not going to work out. You're not going to do well. You're going to fail. If you get rid of that, if you stop listening to that voice and you listen to the voice that's telling you, it's that voice that you feel in your heart that says what you really want to do, and it's pushing you to go farther, to do more, to take the next step. If you listen to that voice, then the enemy on the outside won't be able to harm you, won't be able to put that fear back into you, because you've already told yourself what you're capable of. You've already claimed what you can do. You've already started making those steps to get where you want to go, to do what you want to do, to make your life better. You are doing what you need to do to take dominion over your own self, your own life. Okay? So if you take these steps that Mark is sharing with us in regards to return to sender, then over time, oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you acknowledging that. So over time, you'll be able to fully release that, but you have to start doing the work within yourself to find out why you're still holding on to it, what it will mean if you let it go, and start taking those steps to release it back to whoever gave it to you. Okay? I feel like I'm supposed to say something else, but I can't hear it. I can't hear it. It's gone. Okay. So hopefully whatever I've just said was able to help you. It's just really important. I think the most important thing that you're supposed to just take away from this is that you can't stand behind fear anymore. Okay? You can't stand behind it. And you have to be strong even when you're scared. Because something is coming for you that's really, really great. And if you stay behind that fear, you're going to miss it. Your guides are bringing it to you, and they're giving you the signs. They're giving you the signs that you need to follow. But your fear is keeping you from following or taking or making the right decisions to go to get to, oh my God. Your fears are blinding you from the signs that your guides are giving you. And your guides are trying to tell you what to do. Gosh, but it's so strong. It's what I see is like, it's like when you're going into, have you ever seen like in a movie fire in the movies, like back, what is that movie, Backlash? Anyways, that movie where that person was setting the fire so that you wouldn't see a fire, and then you open the door and the oxygen gets in and you see all that smoke and fire. Okay, so your fear is that strong. It's like a wall of just smoke, and you're blinded by it, and you can't see through it. And your guides are like pulling at you. They're like pulling at you. They're like pulling at you. They're pulling at you, right? And they're trying to get to you. But you're too scared. You're like what did I say? You're like a child. You're like this with the smoke around you, and you're not opening your eyes, and you're keeping yourself like locked down. Okay? You're keeping yourself pinned, and you're not able to see the next steps. So you got to get rid of that fear. You got to you have to wash it away. I see like water. Again, we're going to go back to like the fire analogy. You have to be strong enough within yourself to where you're literally like taking that fire hose and you're spraying all of that fire, all of that smoke away. This is like a visualization that you're going to have to do to at least get to the step where you can reach out and you can grab the hand of your guides. Okay? Gosh, I don't know what words to say. even if you don't use a water hose to put the flame out, to put the smoke out, and even if you're not totally sure, I want you to still reach your hand out and move forward. What I see is a hand reaching through smoke. It's your hand. Whoever's on the other side is going to pull you through. Exactly, Jacob. Expel fear and take all the time you need. Don't be hard on yourself for failing or falling short. Absolutely. 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 You're going to have to reach through, and you're going to have to hold on and trust that what you're doing is the right step. Just do it. So tomorrow or tonight, if someone calls you and they're like, let's go, you just say, okay, and you go and you do it. Okay? All right. That's exactly where I'm struggling. It happens. We all struggle through different things, letting go, starting anew. But if you really want to, want to just like move forward, just take the step. Take the step. Leap out on faith, jump out, do a belly flop, whatever you got to do. But that's what needs to happen, okay? Let me see if I can make this smaller. Okay. So, right, it is not easy. It's a daily moment to moment practice. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's why Dave Markowitz, I've been calling him Mark this whole time, but his last name is Markowitz, but it's okay. We knew who I was talking about. So I think with the return to sender is definitely like a visual thing where you're working with healing yourself. My lights have been flashing for days, so my guys decided to call me out. God, I love it. They've been trying to get your attention. That's the thing. They'll make it known. They'll make it known when they're trying to talk to you. Absolutely. When they're trying to get your attention. You just have to pay attention. You have to look at the signs. They're all around us. You know? They're all around us all the time, but we just have to be aware. But they want you to they want you to reach out and to just let them guide you. Let them guide you. That's what they're saying. Let them guide you. Let them do the work. And you'll be fine. They will take care of you. They've gotten you to this point, but you're stagnant. And so now they're like, okay, all right, girl, we're ready. We're ready. Are you ready? Because we're going, we're moving, we're doing this. So whatever it is, and I don't know if it's with your podcast, but it's time. There's going to be some moves coming. How do I know when I'm getting off track? Okay. Like with yourself, like how are you getting off track with what you're supposed to be doing? Okay. So when you're getting off track, how do you know? I would think that your energy would change. The momentum would change when you're no longer focused on what you should be doing. Okay, like when I'm operating in fear. When you're operating in fear, how do you know that you're getting off track? Oh, thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that. Thank you. Like when I'm operating in fear, how do you know you're getting off track? Because there's no success. There's no success behind what you're doing, then you're off track. It seems like it happened so easily. Thanks for saying that, Jacob. I was just starting to feel bad about monopoly. It's okay. It was supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen at this time and at this moment. Because to be very, very honest with you, my ears hadn't been ringing for like a week. Then it did it for about a day. It was a very short time, and then it stopped. And right now it's like nonstop. Since I initially said my ears were ringing, it's been ringing that long. And it's not really ringing. It's like buzzing, or like I can't even describe it. So it's like it's a vibration. It's a vibration, like someone's talking. And usually it's only in this ear, but it's both ears. It's both ears right now. Like it's talking. It's talking. It's a vibration and then it's in both ears, and it's like filling my whole like head and chest. Yes, it was because you were spot on. I knew it was coming the minute you said your ears were ringing. See, because they told you. They were like, girl, get on to this book club today, because we're going to talk about some stuff that is going to help everybody. Okay. So I don't have any more buzzing. So does anyone else have any other questions? Okay. So on Sunday at 10 a.m. we'll be having the it'll be module 3 for empath mechanics course. We'll be talking about energy clearing. And I'm going to start something different. I know. Oh, thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that. He said, no, you were wonderful. I appreciate that. I try to be wonderful from time to time. So anyways, like I was saying, on Sunday, we will be having the empath mechanics course. We're doing module 3, which is energy clearing. I'm going to be doing starting something different with that, where I'm actually going to put in our files for our group, the actual lesson plan. I'll give you guys some more detail about that in the video, but it'll be available so that you all have something like to work with. Oh, you're welcome, Miss Davis. Motto is asking you to send him a friend request when you get a chance. Okay, I'll send it. Yeah, that'll be cool. I'll send it to him because I need to know what he wants me to do as far as being a moderator for that other group, because I have no idea what's expected of me. So yeah, I'll put the files on, or I'll put the lesson plan in our files section for the courses from now on, so that you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm no longer just going to be reading, because reading the lesson plan because it was totally boring and it was draining my spirit, and I felt like I was not doing anything for you guys because I didn't feel like I was getting anything from it. So I will give you guys the lesson plan and then I will just discuss it. Okay? All right. So I think that's it. And I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye.